So 2017 seems to be the year where smartphone manufacturers are really pushing bezel-less smartphones. And before I tell you what the bezel-less approach is and which companies are actually taking it, let me tell you what a bezel to a smartphone is. When you pick up your phone, the front of it is its display, but what you see surrounding it is the bezel of the smartphone. So it could be big, it could be small, it could be black, it could be white, or it could be a wacky color. But in most cases prior to now, it's been there. The first phone that actually came really close to a bezel-less display was the Xiaomi Mi Max, and pardon me for that pronunciation, but here's a picture of it on screen. As you can see, the bezel-less approach really makes for an immersive experience when watching movies, for example, but at the same time, you can pack a much larger screen on what is a smaller form factor. Companies rumored to be adapting to this sort of approach are Samsung with their Samsung Galaxy S8 and their S8 Plus, and Apple with their newest iPhone to be announced in September. But there are other companies who've made it a reality. One of them are LG with their LG G6, and the other being a new company called Maze with their Alpha. But while all of this may sound really good and would make the user experience a lot better, there are quite a few drawbacks to this, and that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. First and foremost, by removing the bezel to the display of a smartphone, you're making the entire thing a lot more vulnerable. And let me explain. When you drop a phone with a bezel, the bezel usually takes most of the damage. But when you drop a phone without a bezel, it's the display that takes most of the damage, which could be very, very bad for your smartphone because there hasn't been a material that can withstand such a large drop, and even if there has been, it's kind of really expensive to be implemented into smartphones at this stage. The second reason is for aesthetics. Now you have the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus to be rumored to look like this, and at the same time you have the LG G6, which has been officially announced to look like this. There isn't as much of a difference as there was previously, and I think the bezels really add this sort of character to smartphones, which is kind of missing in the 2017 smartphones. Every single smartphone that's been announced or rumored seems to look almost identical to each other, which is a bad thing, to be honest, because if you're going to be pulling a phone out of your pocket, you want to make it look unique, but this sort of approach really doesn't help that. In my opinion, even the recently announced Sony Xperia XZ looks good when compared to the S8 and the LG G6 because it has some sort of character, and maybe that's why it won the Best Phone of MWC 2017 award. Who knows, maybe the MWC people think like me. Smart people think alike. Smart. What was the quote? Great minds think alike. And lastly, there's handling. This one's a bit hard to convey through the camera, but if I was holding a bezel-less display and I wanted to show you guys something, I would naturally be touching the display with my thumb without actually intending to do so, which would trigger a task or two on my phone, which I didn't really intend to, and that makes the whole process a lot more cumbersome. And while this is a very, very small or minor problem, I just wanted to make sure people know about it because I face it very often, even on phones that don't have bezel-less displays. So I don't know how I'm going to be handling phones with bezel-less displays. But yeah, those were my thoughts on the future of smartphone displays. Let me know what you guys think about my opinions and bezel-less displays in general. I think all of these problems will only persist for the first or the second gen displays, with companies finding better alternatives as we progress in the future like they normally do. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.